Hey everyone, today we are solving LeetCode problem number 2482. Difference between ones and zero in a row and column. So in this problem, we are given a m cross n binary grid having only values 0 and 1, and we have to form a matrix diff using following conditions. Let the number of ones in the ith row be ones row I. Let the number of ones in the jth column is this. Number of 0 in the ith column, 0 in the jth column are this. Okay. And then diff of ij will be equal to number of ones in the ith row, number of ones in ith jth column, number of 0 in ith row, number of 0 in jth column. Okay. Let's say for any grid 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1 0. If we check for this element, the indices will be equal to 1 comma 0. So how do we find the diff ij? Number of 1 in ith row. What is the value number of 1 in ith row? That is 1 plus number of 1 in jth column. J is 0. In the 0th column we have only 1 1. Now number of 0 in ith row. Either we calculate the 0 or it is m cross n size. So there are n elements and number of 1 we have already calculated minus 1. This much zeros we have in the ith row. Sorry, subtract. Number of 0 in the jth column, that is m minus 1. So 1 plus 1 minus n is 3, which is 2, minus, and m is also 3, which is minus 2. So value is minus 2 for this one. Okay. So how do we figure out that? Let's say for this 0, first of all we have to calculate the number of ones in that specific row. Number of 1 in this row and in this column. Okay. So for that what we can do is we can go to every ij and check for number of 1 in that row, number of 1 in that column. So that is going to be m plus n time operation for every cell in this matrix. So for complete matrix, it is going to be m into n into m plus n. Okay, so this is going to be our brute force checking at every position. Let's say for this one, we are going to calculate the number of 1 in that column. For this 0, we are going to calculate the one number of ones in that column. So these operations are getting repeated. For this one also, we'll calculate number of 1 in this row. For this also, we'll calculate the number of 1 in this row. So operations are getting repeated. So this is not an efficient approach here. So what is going to be the efficient approach? So we can pre-compute the number of ones in each column and number of ones in each row. Okay. So for our grid, what is the value we are going to store in these two arrays? Number of ones in each column. In the first column we have 1. In the second column the count of 1 is 1. In third column we have 3 ones. In the first row it is 2. In the second row it is 2. In the third row it is 1. Okay. Now if we try to figure out the value of 0, 0, how do we figure out that using these two array? So for 0, 0, number of ones in the 0th row 2 plus number of ones in the 0th column, that is 1. minus number of 0 in the 0th row minus number of 0 in the 0th column. So in the 0th row, how many 0 we have? N minus 2. Okay, because in the 0th row we have n elements. In the 0th column we have m elements because the size dimension is m cross n. So number of 0 in the first column is m minus this one, number of ones. So 2 plus 1 minus m and n are having values 3, minus 1 minus 1. Okay, so minus 2 here. So what is the value? 2 plus 1 minus 2, which is 0 here. So we will fill 0 in this case. Okay, so hope you understood the approach. So in this case, we took O of m plus n extra space to store these two array, but we reduce our time to m into n because in the first iteration we will just iterate over this array in m cross n time and we will fill these two arrays, number of ones in each row and each column. Okay, after that we will again iterate over our array and fill every ij value in the diff matrix using these two arrays. So that is also going to be m into n, which is better than the previous time, which was m into m plus n. Okay, so let's quickly code this problem. First of all, let's capture the number of rows and column. Int m is equal to grid dot length, int n equal to grid 0 dot length. This is the dimension, and we have to create a new diff 2D array, new int m cross n. Along with that, we will capture the number of 1 in each row and number of 1 in each column. Row 1 count. Now iterate over this array I equal to 0, I less than m, I plus plus 4 in j equal to 0, j less than n, j plus plus. If grid ij is equal to 1. In this case, we are going to capture result to our arrays. Row 1 count I plus plus, column 1 count j plus plus. Okay, now we have captured our desired data. What we will do, we have to fill the diff array. Diff ij is equal to number of 1 in each in that corresponding row. Row 1 count I plus column 1 count j minus number of 0 in that corresponding row and column. So what is the number of 0 in the first row? N minus this value, number of ones. And number of 0 in that corresponding column is m minus number of ones. Okay, now our diff array is filled. We can just directly return it. Submitting. We found some error diff. There was a typo. Submitting of sample test cases. Submitting the problem. Submitted successfully. Hope you understood the problem. Thank you guys.